It's 6 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting to order, please. And can I ask everybody to please silence their phone? That way we can all hear each other and everything. Brittany, will you please do roll?
Larry.
Here.
Mark.
Here.
Dan. Darlene.
Here. Acknowledgement that the agenda was posted outside the door of Inola Town Hall more than 24 hours prior to the meeting. Pledge allegiance. Mark, will you lead us in prayer, please?
Yes. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I just want to thank you for this time to come together as a city and the community to take care of the city's business, Father. Father, I just pray that you be with us, be in our minds, be in our thoughts, and direct us in our decisions, Father. Father, I thank you for all that you do for us in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, number 1, approval of previous regular meeting minutes is printed.
I make a motion to approve previous regular meeting minutes as printed.
I'll second.
Mark made the motion, second by Larry. Larry.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Darlene.
Yes. Public comments. Mr. Hill, Brian Hill, do you want to wait till, you got agenda number 3. Would you like to wait until then? Okay. I see that all of you have put down here different agenda items. Do you want to wait until those agenda items come up? Is that okay with all of you?
Mine's not related to that.
Okay.
I'm special.
Okay, you're special. Why don't you just hop right up here and tell us what makes you so special?
My 2 cats, that makes me special.
There you go.
So, this is directed towards anyone applicable. PSO is wanting a $597 million rate increase to recover increased business costs and electric infrastructure investments. For a residential service customer, likely anybody that's a customer in this room, this can mean an increase of around 15% or maybe $25 a month on top of your already expensive bill. If you're a PSO customer and you're okay with this increase, I accept Cash App or PayPal if you want to cover the increase on my electric bill. Now, the STIS team has a form online. The entry of appearance deadline is May 18th. They put a lot of great information on the page. If you're like me and have limited availability, you just need to fill out the first form on the page. Took me less than a minute. I hope to have a video made by tomorrow showing how. If you have more time and want to present evidence or cross-examine witnesses on the June 29th meeting, you will need to fill out the second form on the page in addition to the first. Whether or not you don't do the second form, you can attend the meetings via Zoom. Dates and info are at the bottom of the page that has the forms. And if you do the second form to present evidence or cross-examine, you will need to attend in person. That's the only thing I had on that, and I'm aware you guys can't really answer, so maybe somebody in the crowd can. I've seen some stuff circulating on Facebook recently about a possible data center. Where would I be able to find information on that? Would that be a city and zoning? Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so if everybody else wants to wait until we come up to your agenda item, we'll go ahead and go on. Number 3, discussion, consideration, and possible action to create the Inola Community Accountability Review and Engagement I-CARE Committee.
You're up.
You're up. I'm sorry,
Her name.
Brian. I'm sorry.
Good evening. I'll try to make this quick here. So the ICARE objective is to establish a community advisory committee that serves as a conduit between Inola City Council and the citizens regarding questions, concerns, potential mitigation strategy related to the local industrial operation. The committee's primary goal is to gather community input and present to the City Council with data-driven, balanced, and actionable proposal to address citizens' concern. This is the structure. The iCare Committee will consist of a small focus group of volunteers to ensure efficiency and balance of perspectives. The iCare Committee will be composed of the following: Council Liaison, 1 non-voting council member designated to facilitate communication. 5 community members. The voting members of this committee shall consist of 5 residents within the Inola School District with varied backgrounds. Members shall collectively reflect a broad diversity of the community, bringing ranges of perspectives, lived experiences, and areas of knowledge and other characteristics that contribute to a well-rounded representation of the community. Certain disclosures, particularly those related to project-specific interests, may be revisited on a case-by-case basis as new topics arise. The selection. Each trustee shall appoint 1 committee member based on the criteria listed here. Individuals selected to serve should demonstrate a genuine interest in the community issues and a willingness to actively participate in the community's work. Members are expected to be reliable, prepared, and able to commit the time necessary to engage in meetings and review materials. Participation. Committee members are expected to communicate clearly, listen thoughtfully, and engage in respectful dialogue. Members should be open to differing viewpoints and capable of discussion complex or controversial topics in a constructive, solution-oriented manner. I'm going to kind of bounce around here. Scope and responsibilities. The iCare Committee is formed in the ability to information gather, collect, and organize questions, concerns, and suggestions from the local citizens regarding local industrial projects. Research and analysis. Research existing public information, regulations, and the best practices related to similar industrial operations, focusing on environmental, health, and economic aspects of the social impact to the community. Propose and generation. Develop and present actionable proposals to the City Council to address key citizens' questions and concerns. Proposals must include potential pros and cons and resources required. Reporting. Provide regular per meeting written reports to the City Council that document community concerns.
Thank you so much. And we do have a copy of all of this that he was reading off of, so if anybody wants a copy of that, we have it, okay?
Since he's presenting on this, can he have more time?
You know, I'm willing to do that.
Yeah.
Would you like to go
Brian,
ahead?
you want to go ahead and finish?
Since you're
you're presenting
presenting.
on this, you are a presenter.
Okay.
Then,
Yeah, I'm willing to do
you
that.
should have plenty of
good?
time to
Okay.
go through this.
Let's do that.
Let's see here. Reporting. Reports should be presented in a range of perspective, highlighting supporting data and sources, and clearly identifying associated risks, benefits, and uncertainties. Community engagement. Hold periodic advertised public forums to gather input, ensuring a direct presentation of community views. Maintain a public city email address linked to the committee's members for soliciting community input. Meetings. Frequency. Monthly scheduled meetings. Transparency. All meetings will be open to the public following the Oklahoma Open Meetings Act requirement. Here's some of the key deliverables. Citizens inquiry. Organize summary of citizens' questions and concerns. Committee evaluation. Standardized matrix for evaluating risk and magnitude of the community's concerns, and 3 primary areas of environmental, health, and economic impacts. Includes cited research and committee decisions. City Council proposals. Tracker for the status of the City Council proposals, including draft, presentation, and resulting action. Metrics of success. Council action. A number of iCare presented proposals formally considered or acted upon by the City Council. Community satisfaction. Reduction in the number of industrial project inquiries directed to the City Council. We're trying to help out here. Indicating the committee is effectively managing information flow. Record keeping. Provide written record of neutral, fact-based evaluation for public concerns to support city council actions. Citizens inquiry, categorize record of citizen inputs, questions, and concerns. Public-facing FAQ, categorize issues and logs. Intended success, improved transparency, clear, concise record of community priorities. Committee evaluation, standardized metrics for neutral, facts-based risk and magnitude evaluation of projects that may potentially have an impact on, but not limited to, environmental, health, social, and economic aspects with the community. Data backed by cited sources of research and comparative analysis. Make sure we've got everything here. So that's kind of the highlights of it. So what we're basically, presenting is that each one of the council members would be able to select a committee member that would gather the information from the citizens, create a report, and bring to you with solutions and ideas to help mitigate some of the problems that we've had in the past few months. So that's kind of it. It is available on our website as well. And I do thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
very
Hill,
much.
for this presentation. Thank you. Beth, did you have something you wanted to?
Okay, so to add to what Brian said, because I helped him write it, and then I also got to bounce into number 4 about the steering committee, because they're obviously related. And I heard what Thomas said at the last meeting. I called him, I was like, what are you talking about? He explained it to me, and I told him that I think it's great. That's great. I have reservations on a couple things specifically about it, because I think what this eye care committee can do is a happy medium. So I think its goals and its success metrics, as he stated, are going to be able to speak to all the perspectives of the community concerns, and it doesn't knock out whether it's Tulsa Port Authority or Sofidel or any other company that comes in and there's concern. Those outside perspectives are still going to be heard, because this committee is going to be subject to the Open Meetings Act. It's going to have minutes. Everybody knows what's going on. They can attend. We can ask questions, invite them in for their perspective. So I think it's a happy medium in that aspect. But one of my worries with this advisory committee already is that if we're going to have enough people that can be credible, do the research, take the time, and be reliable, and be unbiased in argument to bring facts and not their personal bias, right? Finding those already, I think, is going to be difficult to maintain. So it's important to understand what that steering committee idea does, that they can organize the process, identify the qualified participants, create the structure, and be productive and balanced, and most importantly, keep it credible, right? Because it's going to have all the different entities, if you will, not just community members. But ultimately, the town is the entity that's responsible for appointing the committee. The town's insurance language defines an employee that would cover this advisory committee as broadly to include persons authorized to act on behalf of the town, including appointed officers, members of governing bodies, and other persons designated to act for the named insured, which is the town. So if we bring in, whether I'm going to use Sofidel or Tulsa Ports, right, because they're existing, if we bring them in and they're part of the committee, who can actually clearly define that industrial developer or owner is acting on behalf of the town? And I can give you an example, because my mind it works in worst case scenario and risk, so just throw out whatever that worst case scenario is whenever you're talking about liability. I think the that committee approach still achieves the goals of transparency for the community representation and does not knock out any of those additional people.
Okay.
I've got a question for you. So you were talking about with the Sofidel or with the port. Are you talking about in the steering committee or on the ICARE?
In the steering committee.
Okay, okay.
The advisory committee, because then it's...
Well, from...
appointing somebody, so then how does that work as far as the definition of who's covered under the town liability in that worst case scenario?
Well, under the CARE committee, I don't think we would have somebody from Sofidel or from the port. That would be under the steering committee.
Right,
And so that would be completely different in that aspect.
Well-
I think, and I'm speaking to myself, I wouldn't want somebody, I would want actual just citizens living here in the I-CARE committee, and then in the steering committee, then have people representing the businesses and things like that, because they can give, different perspectives on that. But in the I-CARE, I really feel strong about, citizens like you guys being on that. And I see Tom agrees with me there.
All right, so
Yeah,
maybe,
I'm
so,
happy to wait till number 4.
well, I was gonna say,
Make
they,
this a discussion of all of those points.
yeah,
Um,
it's discussion of that I worry about, if the steering committee, right, I'm gonna put on Andrew
Okay.
here, right? They choose him to be on the steering committee, to appoint somebody to speak to the advisory committee, right?
Well, and so
Okay.
I think that's not really that's not really the purpose of the
Okay.
steering committee.
Okay.
So
Why don't,
maybe- I don't know.
why don't you let me go on?
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and read number 4, and
Yeah.
then let's go from there. Thomas, if you don't mind. Discussion, consideration, and action to adopt Resolution 2026-09, appointing a steering committee to develop and recommend founding documents, establishing a community advisory committee to provide independent review and input related to industrial and commercial development. I'm so sorry. Okay, now, Thomas, would you mind?
So my first question is on that, is the resolution the same that I had seen previously? That's basically, could you summarize that for everybody?
Yes, it provides for steering committee, as drafted, it would have 7 members, 1 designated by the board, 1 by Inola schools, 1 by the town, and 4 from the community, appointed by the board. And then your job would be to develop something like I-CARE, the way I.
Yes.
Now, what direction it goes, that would be up to the steering committee. So I don't envision there being a steering committee that lasts forever. I envision the steering committee, as you and I discussed, being the creator of governing documents, and then they would finish their job, and then we would have whatever committee we all agree with. There wouldn't be
Yeah.
2 committees.
Well, and I guess so, and I apologize, this may have been on me explaining it poorly last time. So in my mind, exactly what Tom is saying, the steering committee is a very, very temporary organization. It is not designed to appoint the council or the CAC, the advisory board that follows it. Its only goal is to get all the stakeholders in one room, which the port is a critical part of that as far as the stakeholders go, because obviously they're the owner of the industrial park. So they have to be a stakeholder for input. The businesses in that industrial park also have to be input into the steering committee. That is not to say that the port would get to choose, that Andrew would get to vote, I throw him out there again, that Andrew would get to vote on who from the community is on the advisory board. Its only purpose is to develop the actual documents like what you did, which is the I-CARE, and say, hey, these are our goals as the advisory board. Our goals are to reduce citizen complaints. Our goals are to develop a safety plan that incorporates the community and the county and everybody involved. That steering committee just makes those initial documents, and they make the eligibility. So they might say, okay, hey, we want a varied background. We want at least 2 people that have a knowledge of public safety and fire and health. We want 1 person that has an engineering background. We want 1 person that has a finance or a business in the area. The steering committee just makes those kind of broad guidelines to then say, okay, however the steering committee comes up with a metric to elect or ask for people to participate on the advisory board, kind of like you guys were mentioning, that's separate. That's separate from the steering committee. It's not directed by that first steering committee. It's just to get everybody in the same room so we can actually talk about how the advisory board needs to look. And I think the I-CARE is a great starting point to say, hey, this is kind of what the community wants. How does that play into what the town wants? How does that play into what the port wants? How does that play into the broader stakeholders that aren't just the citizens? But I agree, the final advisory committee, typically those members are community members. there will always be a industrial representative who is like a liaison or non-voting, however you want to phrase it, but you need their input, right? So if we had this committee and the aluminum smelter was not part of the committee at all, then you wouldn't have any information to report on and act on, right? You would just be getting citizen information, and it would kind of just be a complaints board. So you have to have involvement from the stakeholder company in order to actually have an actionable committee, right? Because you can say, hey, the citizens have noticed an increase in truck traffic this last couple months. And the company can come back and say, yeah, we have a turnaround, so we had twice as many trucks for the next month, and then it'll go back to normal. And you can hold them accountable to that by saying, hey, after that 2 months you told us about, we're still seeing more trucks. What's going on? And that is part of the Open Minutes, Open Meetings Act, and it would all be recorded under the final advisory committee. So I apologize, we really have to break those two committees apart, that the steering committee is not a long-lasting, not a permanent organization. It's just a, what do we want this to actually look like? Let's get, and I actually, if 7's too many, I think 5 from the community, like you're saying, each one of you point 1, and then a port and somebody else. I think that's wonderful. The numbers, I'm definitely open to interpretation on it. I think if the resolution passes with 7, fine. I think that no matter what, if you get citizens from the community, the port, the town, in one room to say, how do we want to better protect everybody? And it helps the port and it helps the town. And like we were saying from liability, the future committee can help mitigate a lot of that liability, right? It's not going to be the port appointing somebody to protect the city. It's not the purpose of the steering committee. So hopefully that clarifies a little bit. Questions, comments, anybody?
Does anybody have any comments or questions about this?
What is the timeline that we're talking about? Because I know initially when we were talking about putting this committee together, it was to address a lot of the concerns that we have as you guys begin to negotiate the development agreement, getting some protections in place for the public, for the community, right? And so I'm just curious, like, if we have to have a steering committee before we can go forward, like, we need to get to work talking about how do we get those protections negotiated in that development agreement. Does that make sense? Is that clear?
I would say personally, I don't see the steering committee as related to that. That would be a separate committee. That would be like you're going to make a steering committee to enact this advisory the advisory council's reactionary. It's down the road, right? It's, hey, for the Port Industrial Complex, we want this Citizens Advisory Council for everything moving forward. You can't really make an advisory council to say, you know, go retroactively back to the start of the project and say, hey, we want to fix this thing. You can't do that with this type of council. So that'd be a different type of committees that the city would have to say, we want an advisory committee on something else that's not what I'm talking about. So that would be separate.
So that is what was envisioned with the I-CARE committee. That was the genesis of that. That we want to put a committee together that can take all of the suggestions that we've heard here at city council meetings, talking about how do we protect our land, how do we get monitoring, how do we ensure that these things that are built into the development agreement. That's why we came up with the idea, let's get a citizens committee together that can hash all that out and then bring to you, the city council and the city manager, ideas, like concrete things that you can say, yes, let's do that. I'm assuming, and I may be wrong, that that development agreement has not yet been negotiated. And so this is where we had some urgency. We want this committee together. We want to talk about all the things that have been brought up here, the concerns citizens have. You know, the prior industrial park, they went forward, and it was 2 years ago that legislation was proposed because they had a huge shortfall in what to do with the hazardous waste and fire suppression there. And they went to the state and asked for millions of dollars to try to do that. What my idea, what we've been talking about is, let's get in on the front end. Let's build those things into the development agreement so that we're not looking back and going, oh, there's holes that now, like Thomas said, it's too late for us to plug. We want a citizens community to hash out those ideas, come up with ideas. We have no power other than to bring those ideas to you. You have all the power. You appoint the committee members, hopefully taking into consideration the criteria that we've established. But you appoint those committee members. The committee works together. They come back with their recommendations to you, and then it's up to you whether or not you act on them. That is what we envision with iCare. I don't know that the steering committee is, I don't see how that fits into what we're talking about. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions about that?
I understand what you're saying. Do you?
I would fully agree that that is not what the steering committee or the future advisory board would be. So if that's what you're seeking, that's not what I'm proposing. Mine would definitely have community input for any future projects, and you'd have you'd already have the committee, and you'd have the relation with the port, so a future project would see something that you could do that up front, but it's not something that this committee would say, okay, retroactively you can go back. And personally, I think that's a little cautious to say we're going to reach back retroactively to form a committee to study something. I think it's a different thing. I don't know what it would be. It would be a city legislative, regulatory advisory committee or something. It can be, iCare.
Yeah.
So it's anything like that, but it would definitely be separate from what I proposed.
Does anybody else have anything you'd like to say on this matter?
I would just tag on and say, based on what Thomas has represented, that this is completely separate. I would urge the commission to, or the council tonight, to approve the iCare so that we can move forward. I'm not sure how his steering committee thing works in with this, but I would respectfully request that you approve the iCare committee.
I think they can be completely independent. I don't think it's
Yeah.
one or the other.
So I agree, when we had the first discussion, I provided you with copies of something Oklahoma City did, and that was with the police department, but it was an arm and agency of the town. Truly working under the direction of the town, not really direction, but appointed by and part on to the town. And so what Thomas is talking about, and he shared a lot of the documents with me, is a little bit of a different creature. So, and it sounds like that's probably less pressing to be created. I don't have a problem with appointing the steering committee, because if we appoint the steering committee for that, they can take as much time as they want to develop that concept down the road. But if we want to get the iCare created, being different, I see no problem with that. I agree, they're really a bit distinct with what they're describing and what they
Yeah.
want. I think you could approve tonight. I would like to put that in a resolution, maybe on the next agenda, but you can still approve the concept tonight, maybe fine tune the document, have it approved, some of the concepts we talked about with insurance, if there's going to be. We reached out to OMAC to make sure, would they be covered?
Right.
And what is an employee? So if they're within that parameter, they would be a true advisory board with independence from the board, et cetera.
Okay.
I would agree could not really fit. That would
So-
be independent of us.
What you're saying is that we need to make a motion to,
Create a resolution for the
Create
iCare
a-
committee?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yes, Tommy? Yes.
I'll make a motion to create a resolution to create the iCare committee for the town of Inola.
Okay, I'll second that.
Mark made the motion, second by Darlene. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Now, we're going to go back to number 4, and where we're going to adopt a resolution, 2026-09. And Mark, would you like to
Yeah.
make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2026-09 for appointing a steering committee and development and recommending funding documents, establishing a community advisory committee.
I'll second that.
Mark made the motion, second by Darlene. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes, thank you. Okay, town administrator update.
Inside your packets today, there was a legal size sheet on ARPA. I wanted to cover that with you and give you an update on where we're at on all the ARPA money that we've had for the last year and a half or so, and tell you what we're thinking about for the remaining portion of that. In total, the town was awarded about $11.5 million. And you can see the contracts that we've signed to execute on our sewer lines, as well as the sewer plant and the lift station at Green Valley. Those projects are nearing completion. There's one change order left to probably go through for Circle B, but at the moment, under the current contracts, there's about $820,000 left. We have met, Dwayne, James Kilpatrick, myself, the port, as well as Kerry Gesture went through the numbers. We all verified that we're on the right numbers. We have given you in the remaining items box in the bottom right corner items that we are looking at. First of all, the Circle B change order is something we basically have to do in order to finish up stuff at the sewer plant. The other 4 items below that are the projects that we deem to be sewer-related projects that we all can sign off on that fit within the scope of the ARPA money that we were awarded. And so we're going to be moving forward with existing contracts on those, but I did want you all to know about them. If you have any issues, let me know, but that will basically spend the rest of our remaining money. And we have to get this done because the ARPA money starts closing out in September. So we will move forward with those items unless you all have some input on something else you would like for us to look at.
Gentlemen, do y'all have any questions on this?
No?
You
Do
good?
you have any questions?
No, Scott went over with,
Okay.
we talked, and I think we got it within 40,000.
We're within 40,000 of spending the whole $11.5 million, so
Okay.
that's pretty good. And we don't know that some of those estimates that we've written down are high or low yet. So don't want to get too close, especially it could trigger some extra financial impact on us if we trip some levels that we don't want to do. I'll move on to my other items. Horseshoe is finishing up sewer lines in the town. They're all pulled now. So all the red clay tile has now been replaced. They still have about 2 to 3 weeks worth of work doing asphalt repairs, going in and finding sinking spots in the places that they've dug for sewer taps, putting down some sod. They also have about a dozen manholes left to reseal. So those will all be taking place. So within the next 2 to 3 weeks, they're pretty much pulling out as complete.
Are they going to be replacing the asphalt in the roads and parking lots?
They're supposed to be going back and redoing those segments because some of them have settled and that kind of thing. So there's been a lot of issues related to that. I will, on behalf of the contractor, argue a little bit that they've needed some rain to settle it in. We've had those rains now, so a lot of that compaction has taken place. So now they can come in and finish tidying up. There's probably still some fences to be fixed.
Right.
But if you've got items that aren't getting done, let them know and we'll make sure and get it on their list. Okay. The hailstorm Friday night, we had at least 7 vehicles damaged. We'll be looking to talk to OMAG about those. 2 Mile Road, I think guardrails got put up on the creek crossing there. I think those, I haven't been down there to look today, but they were supposedly put up, I don't know, into last week or today. We have additional signage being put together for 2 Mile Road. The striping of that's supposed to take place on the 18th. We do have a little bit of extra money left over from paving of 2 Mile. I have talked to INCOG about that, and they have verbally said, and I have to write them a letter to allow us to use that remaining money to buy some concrete culverts, some of which we did right there at Heather Road, but also I have estimated right now that we need about another $20,000 worth of, or $15,000 worth of concrete culverts that will work out here in front of our property for the new fire station and the new library. So that's going to get that bought and we can set that on the side and we have it ready. The governmentdeals.com is supposed to be on the 26th to get all their pictures taken, to get our stuff put online. 587 Road, the county is getting ready to pave it. We talked about that a month or two ago. We put some money towards that project. They're actually, I think, up in Carpenter Addition right now doing some spot repairs related to some stuff we funded a few weeks ago. The Green Valley Lift Station, we finally got the power turned on to the new lift station late last week, anticipating that we'll be flipping over to the new lift station here in the next few days and be able to shut down and demo the old one. We've also have spent a lot of time on storm sirens. As of today, the storm siren guys are saying our sirens are quite old and they need to be replaced, which could be $1 million. Up towards that, but right now we're going to go ahead and move forward with repairs on those, and it's going to be about another $6,000. And let it go as long as it'll go, and we'll try to look for grants and other things for that type of repair. That's my update.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, number 6, discussion, consideration, and possible action to seek bids for harvesting hay on town's property located on 4210 Road, south of Heather Road.
I'd like to go ahead and move forward with publicizing that for the hay to be sold, so
We do that every year.
we do it every year.
Yes, yes.
I'll make a motion to seek bids for harvesting the hay on city's property south of 42, located on 4210 south of Heather Road.
Yes, I'll second.
We're gonna put our time on it,
I would like to have the bids in here by the time we meet next time.
Yes,
so before 6 o'clock on the
I-
26th.
At 6 o'clock before the meeting starts.
yes.
Yes, that's, I,
How do we want
Go
to
with-
publish that?
the only way to publish it is on our website, as well as potentially out on our sign, and then we can do the Claremore paper. That's the only ways we can do it right now.
Yeah, I'll say
Yeah.
website on the sign and Claremore progress.
That would be our anticipation.
Yeah. Agreed. I'll second the motion to have that done.
Mark made the motion, second by Darlene. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve interlocal agreement with Rogers County for Sofadel plan and permit review.
You have in front of you an interlocal agreement that has been very similar to what we've had in the past with the county, and at that point in time, it included the port. We have taken the port out of this agreement and kind of streamlined it to the way the work is taking place between the county and the town as we've taken over some of the responsibilities. And this agreement will allow us to be able to handle the permitting process as well as the inspections and making sure what's clarified between us. And it lasts through the current Sofadel expansion.
Tommy, you've gone all through this, I think?
Have
Okay.
you? Okay, and it looks fine. Good, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement with Rogers County for the Sofadel plan and permit review.
I'll second.
Darlene made the motion, second by Mark. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Number 8, discussion, consideration, and possible action to hold a public hearing on application number 2025-1217 of owners of record Skipper and Julia Weiss to change zoning from SFR to IL for following property, all of blocks 1, 12, and 18 of south of Inola, in addition to the town of Inola's Rogers County, Oklahoma, according to the recorded thereof. And I'm going to make a motion that we open that public hearing at this time.
I'll second that.
Darlene made the motion, second by Mark. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Okay. I do have it down here that, Chris, I believe, you were down that you wanted to make a comment on this?
Thank you. So I want to talk about how this matter came before you tonight, and I want to be clear. My comments pertain to the process. I am not making any claims about Mr. James Schaefer's character, as I understand he's highly regarded. This item was before the Planning and Zoning on March the 31st. On the agenda was also a question of whether Mr. James Schaefer, the chair of Planning and Zoning, should recuse himself from voting on the item, given the fact that the request was made by a person that he works with in a real estate office that is owned by his father-in-law and where his wife also works. And so to avoid even the appearance of impropriety, the right thing for Mr. Schaefer to do would have been to voluntarily recuse himself from discussion or vote. Instead, he defended his ability to participate in the vote, claiming he had no financial interest in the matter. While he was present, public concerns were expressed about the obvious conflict of interest, to which a number of community members stood up to defend him as being above reproach. After Mr. Schaefer excused himself from the room, it was up to the 4 remaining members to decide whether he should be recused. Instead of discussing the importance of government operating in a manner that is above reproach and avoiding even the appearance of bias or favoritism or influence trading in how this city does business, all the comments were about his character. There was a circling of the wagons around Mr. Schaefer that completely missed the point. The legitimacy of the process is called into question, and public trust is broken when these kinds of conflicts of interest exist and are permitted. And it is up to you, City Council, and every member of a public board of this city to protect the integrity of our processes so that the public has confidence that the decisions you make are in the best interest of the town and not in your personal interests or the interests of your family or friends. So the impression created by the discussion was that any vote by the commission member to recuse Mr. Schaefer would have somehow been a vote of no confidence on his character, which was not what the point was. 3 of the 4 members voted that he did not need to recuse himself. After that vote, Mr. Schaefer returned to this chamber, and he was the primary speaker in favor of the zoning change. Even when the commission was presented with public comments pointing out how this rezoning is inconsistent with INOLA's 2025 comprehensive plan, his conclusion was that, from his perspective, this rezoning works, and he voted in favor of it. I am respectfully requesting that this council send this matter back to Planning and Zoning for reconsideration, and please direct Mr. James Schaefer to recuse himself from any decision involving planning and zoning requests from agents that he works with.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Waste?
You guys have any questions for me?
Go ahead.
So this property was for sale, and I did go to the Planning and Zoning Board and looked at the future use, which was light industrial. And that's one reason I pursued it. At the real estate office, we do get people, for instance, want to put it in storage units or want to park equipment. Both of those zonings would take light industrial according to our rules. So if you look in town, there's equipment parked that is not in the correct area. What we are wanting to do is do it correctly. I don't need the light industrial if the storage units wasn't light industrial or parking equipment was light industrial. You see what I'm saying? I'm following your guys' recommendations, if that makes sense. The future use that I seen on there was light industrial, and for me to put storage units in, or park equipment, which I'm saying a dump truck, a trailer, a skid steer in town, electrician wants to have his shop there, you know what I'm saying? You also got to understand where this property is located. You have the railroad track right beside, you have a cell tower, and then you have the lagoons. I don't think it is a proper place for somebody to want to build a house. I've not had anybody come to me and want to build a house right there by the railroad tracks. So to me, it would make sense, looking at what you guys, the future plans was light industrial. So that's one reason that we purchased it and wanted to change the zoning of it, to do something with the property besides let it sit there. There's 2 old storage conus boxes and a bunch of stuff that we've cleaned out, that we've done a lot of stuff to it. And a lot of the dirt over there, I know people have complained about, we're putting it over in the, filling up the lagoons. And we talked about that in the planning and zoning meeting last time. A lot of that dirt, I don't know exactly how much it is, we're supposed to get a square footage on it. That dirt is going to fill 3 of the lagoons over there. So it kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone
Right.
too. And we did get a dirt permit, which I'm sure might have been a little excessive, but that's all I got. I mean, if you guys have any questions for me or.
Thank you, Mr. Weeks. James, do you have any comments on this? Gentlemen?
So the property that Duncan Cabinet has there, what is that zoned as?
That's all residential.
So
That's at its home.
we have a commercial business.
I would have, and
I know there's a house in front of it up there, but then it's a commercial business it's at the back side of it there. What is the property where TDS is parking their trucks on the opposite side of the tracks? What is it zoned as?
TDS is a utility,
It-
well, Hillary now
Yeah,
is a utility.
yeah.
So, and the same would be with the cellular antenna.
So it's zoned as utility, or is it zoned like?
I would have to look at the map. I can tell you that the property that Mr. and Ms. Weiss bought
Yeah.
falls under the Lewis 6 for property use, not in the zoning code, but in the comprehensive plan, which is a recommendation. Now, when you look at Lewis 6, it talks about commercial, which is allowable, and light industrial, which is possible.
Yeah.
Okay? The question that I presented to the Planning and Zoning Committee was what type of commercial entity would want to be next to the railroad track and next door, in essence, to 5 lagoons. It didn't make sense. One of the things to understand is that the comprehensive plan is a guide. It was a guide that was put together in 2019. We do not have a major corridor that runs by that property that Lewis 6 typically indicates would be a commercial property. With everything around it, it seemed to me that it fits within the criteria. I will speak this one thing about the issue of whether I should have recused myself or not. When you look at the rezoning, criteria we have to meet. We need to, if we say no, we need to be able to say to the owners, we said no because of a reason. The majority of the Planning and Zoning Committee members felt that it met the criteria. We had one who didn't vote no or yes. They chose to abstain, and it was passed. I didn't see, again, while I work for my father-in-law, while my brother-in-law is contracted as the city attorney, I don't own part of the financial, I don't own part of the real estate company. I am a contracted laborer. I didn't have the property listed. I didn't sell it on behalf of Representative Mr. Wiest when he purchased it. That was a file that he put together. There was another agency that had the property listed. He brought himself and his wife as a buyer, as a licensed agent. commission went to them, the commission went to the office. I don't receive part of another agent's commission. I will remind council that when LDART came before planning and zoning, because I was a member of LDART, I did recuse myself because I sat on that committee, and for me to make a vote for LDART, I felt would not be appropriate as I had sat on the committee to make a decision to present to that board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
James. Anybody else have any comments or anything you want to discuss about, I'm sorry, anybody else have anything you want to discuss about this, in this public hearing before we close it? Yes.
Obviously, I've done any research. This is the first I'm hearing about any of this. I feel like James and Wes didn't really address Chris's concern. Chris's concern to me was interpreted more as concerns about like nepotism or corruption, not about what it was rezoned as, what the land's going to be used as. And great, he saw some of those times during the Eldar community days. But there is a clear conflict of interest in this situation. That's all I wanted to add, is that it wasn't addressed appropriately, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Gentlemen?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
How does the city currently handle reviewing or auditing conflicts of interest on the committee? The zoning ordinance itself has a procedure, which I think what I heard described as follows. The zoning ordinance says it can be brought up, and the board, in essence, makes a decision. So the board audits itself to determine whether the conflict of interest was okay or not. Yes, so there's no other conflict first makes the determination, should I or should I not withdraw, or presents it to the board. I don't have that in front of me, but, sorry, and I apologize. The board is, the zoning committee itself decides whether the conflict of interest is okay. That's correct. And I don't recall if there's an appeal procedure. So that was my question. Is there any appeal from the council to say, hey, the citizen said, I think that decision, is there any other oversight to that decision? Or it's just the committee decides for itself? My memory is it's in that ordinance very specifically. I don't recall.
Yeah.
It has an appeal process.
Right. I don't.
And again, his board is again, like an advisory board. His is not the final decision, it's ours to make the final decision on it.
Okay.
It's just them making the recommendation to approve, look at it, make sure it follows the criteria, and then make the recommendation to us to either change the zoning or not to change the zoning.
So technically speaking, the appeal would be when it comes to you with the recommendation, if the conflict of interest was discussed to a council member from the community, it would be your responsibility to say, hey, we know you guys said that was an acceptable conflict of interest, but we don't feel that that was the right decision. It's kind of.
Yeah, if we,
Yes.
Yeah, so there's, state law requires an initial hearing and then an appeal. Our ordinance is actually more extensive, and it's always a recommendation. Final decision is here. We actually, this is a separate public hearing, which our ordinance requires. And so, as Mark said, the decision is going to be made tonight. The recommendation is relevant and carries some weight, but it's entirely their decision. And so, they do have those options to approve, deny, send it back, all those things. So, effectively, yes, it comes before them for final decision. So then the mechanism is exactly what Chris did tonight, which is, hey, I don't think this is right, and it's up to you guys. Yeah, they could say that we agree, send it back for another recommendation, then you come back for another public hearing. That's the option. You guys are, yeah, okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to close the public hearing. I'm going to make a motion that we close the public hearing at this time.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Darlene, second by Mark. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Number 10, discussion, consideration, and possible action on application number 2025-1217 of owners of record Skipper and Julia Weiss to change zoning from SFR to IL for following property. All of the blocks of 1, 12, and 18 of South Inola, in addition to the town of Inola's Rogers County, Oklahoma, according to the record thereof. Gentlemen?
I'm gonna weigh in here again on
Yes, sir.
the criteria now that it's before you, now that you have the hearing. I don't know that we printed this off for you, but there are criteria in the zoning ordinance that if you approve this, you have to basically find this. And I'll just read it to you.
Okay.
I think you have it.
Okay.
So the town board may approve rezonings if the following criteria are met. 1, the rezoning will promote public health, safety, and general welfare. 2, the rezoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the purpose of the ordinance. And so we heard a discussion about that. It's Lewis Civic, so it's allowable for have commercial or light industrial. The rezoning is consistent with the stated purpose of the proposed zoning district. The rezoning is not likely to result in significant adverse impact upon other property in the vicinity of the subject. And finally, future uses on the subject tract will be compatible in scale with other properties in the vicinity. So again, you guys have talked about some of that, what's in the vicinity, what's surrounding near the railroad track, but in essence, those are the criteria you have to follow. If you have concerns about any of those, then you would either send it back for further study, you could deny it. If you don't have, then you can approve it. And obviously, you can discuss the issue raised about the conflict if you feel that's needed.
What do you think, gentlemen?
Well, I see the property, it's up against the railroad tracks, so that's on one side. On the opposite side of the railroad tracks is Hillary's parking lot for their equipment over there, a cell tower. And then on the opposite side is
The lagoons.
the cabinet company. I know their grandmother's old house is in front of the cabinet company, but the cabinet shop is there. And then you have the lagoons there. So it's not residential, area right there. On the opposite side of the road there is the railroad property, and then Ken Froze is where his old silos and everything where he used to, bale hay and sell hay out of. So is that zoned as commercial, or how is that property there zoned as?
I have no idea on that either. A lot of that, the issue we have, and I know a lot of that existed before we had zoning.
Exactly.
Right.
But right there in front of that property is the railroad, property. So that is not ever going to be residential. So it's going to be commercial property. So I feel that it falls right along in with the zoning that's all around it right there.
Yes. Larry?
Well, we also had a cabinet shop. It's not, Mr. Metzger, he had a cabinet shop right next to Hillary.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I see no problem.
Okay. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 10 to be rezoned as IL.
I'm going to second that motion.
Mark made the motion, second by Darlene. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Number 11, discussion, consideration, and possible action to adopt Resolution 2026-07, a joint resolution of the Town of Inola and Inola Public Works Authority updating procedures and fees related to responding to open records, to open records request. I'm sorry. Scott? My mouth is so dry.
In review of our open meetings documentation that we have, it's got some date to it. We have chosen to go ahead and update our policies. We've recommended to you what the Attorney General, as well as OMAG and OML, have both stated as a format that should be considered. and that's what we've put in front of you in this resolution. You will find also in the back of the resolution as Exhibit A, the format that we will move to for requests, and they will, if you approve, we will put those online immediately, along with the fees that have been deemed to be appropriate for covering our costs.
Okay.
This is one thing that they covered when we went through the training over in Tulsa.
I think we were a little on the behind.
Yes,
Yeah,
most definitely.
yeah. Okay. Tommy, did you go over this?
Yes, I helped Scott put this together. We looked at, started with, again, what the Attorney General procedures are in forms and schedule of fees. Took a look at other places. We found in that process, found the form has actually been approved by OMAG, OML, and one other agency as far as the request form and how it works, cites some of the statutes and laws. Some of the resolution format follows in line with what I found in city culture. Theirs is far more extensive still, not a 12-page document, but I took some of what they have in there, dealing with such things as legal questions and being clear about who's authorized to release the records. That question's been brought up. We've always treated that as the town clerk. Everything that said that. Specifically, obviously, the town clerk is the designated person certified.
Right.
But because we don't have a town clerk, I made it clear that the deputy clerk also has that authority, as well as the town administrator, to release records. Again, we proposed to update that form that OMAG has approved. There's a reference that I added to discretionary exemptions, again, it follows what Tulsa did. For example, we had a request recently that dealt with personnel files. And a lot of that's confidential, but there's parts of it that says it's up to the board to determine whether it should be confidential or not. And so the way Tulsa approached that was to say the presumption is that it's confidential when you're talking about those discretionary positions, like someone's personnel file. Again, there's some things that you have to do, hire dates, pay, terminate, discipline, final discipline. Those things are public records. But there are other things that are not. So, again, I helped put this together following the guidance from Tulsa, OMAG, and some other cities like Midway City.
Okay. Amy, I see that you're down here, that you want to, you have a comment on this.
So my comments to the resolution are as follows. First paragraph regarding record search. The Act states a public body may charge a fee only for recovery of the reasonable direct costs of record copying or mechanical reproduction. With regards to record search, this could depend on the organizational method of the public body and their requirement to engage with the requester to seek the information as needed. Therefore, I request the words record search be deleted here. Section 2 states the town administrator is authorized to modify the form with the approval of the town attorney or board of trustees. This should be modified to state town attorney and board of trustees. The people have a right to be informed of any changes via a town council agenda item. Section 2 states Exhibit A shall be used to determine whether the request is expected to cause excessive disruption of the essential functions of the town or PWA. If it is decided that excessive disruption is anticipated, the document should be modified to require the town or PWA to provide the requester with the basis and/or reasons for having made this determination. Exhibit B, first sentence. This sentence is incomplete and not understood. Exhibit B, item 12, bullet point number 2. Search fees, if applicable. This should be removed. Exhibit B, item 12, bullet number 6. As per section 51-24A.54 of the Act, if the request is solely for commercial purpose, then the public body may charge a reasonable fee to to recover the direct cost of record search and copying. Therefore, this bullet could be updated to reflect this specific allowance for record search. Exhibit B, item 12, bullet point number 9. I believe this may be a typo and should state Schedule of Fees, Exhibit B. Exhibit B, special costs. The fee for town and PWA employees should not be a flat fee, but at their hourly rate, whatever that may be, depending on who is doing the work. Agenda item number 14 proposes a part-time assistant with administrative duties. Thus, the fee schedule could be updated to include this option as a cheaper option. The town administrator fee is high. This fee could potentially discourage requests that are needed, but due to the circumstances, it may need this person's assistance and be time-consuming. The town attorney fee is high. Again, this fee could potentially discourage requests that are needed, but due to the circumstances involved, may need this person's assistance and be time-consuming. Thank you.
Tommy, is there anything that she was just talking about that we need to address?
A lot of these things are out of the act itself, we'll get on this.
Right.
And again, it doesn't apply except for commercial type requests. So they won't apply, these won't apply.
Right. Okay. Gentlemen, you don't have any? Oh, I'm so sorry, you did. Jolita? I'm sorry.
I just had a quick question. So when we're talking about it's only applying to commercial requests, if the language of the resolution doesn't make that clear, I think that's an issue. I think you should be able to pick up that resolution and say this is not imposing a search fee on the general public asking for a records request. Because that's pretty definitive in the Opens Records Act, is you are not allowed to charge a search fee, right? If it's for public interest. So what, like, is there something, and the second part of that question is, where is this resolution available before the meeting? Okay, so I had to know that it was coming from as of today? As of Friday, okay. I feel like that could be something that should be on the website, possibly? There's no offense? So I had to know to request it before it was ready. Okay. Okay. So I had very little time frame in there to actually request it. I feel like that should be something that's probably part of the posting on the website for maybe the agenda. That's just a general comment. But the search fee is my real main concern, that if there's something that's misconstruing that in this document, I feel like that needs to be corrected. And not simply, oh, well, we know that it's only applying to commercial search and things that are private interest. If that's not explicitly stated clearly, I think that needs to be addressed. That's my main point on the records requesting.
Thank you. Jolita, I'm sorry.
I'm not nearly as technical as they are. I just want to say, just today alone, I have spent, I think I'm working on 7.5 hours today on this smelter deal, my personal time, okay? That is almost every day for me right now. I am not doing anything malicious to any of you, nor I can speak to Carissa, Thomas. We're trying to help. We truly are, okay? We have got a lot of money and a lot of time out. This has zero to do with any kind of financial gain that any of us could get off this, okay? It doesn't have anything to do with our personal things. It has to do with our community. It has to do with our love of this community and what we want to help, and we are trying to help. There are some people that don't really want us to get our hands on some of this stuff. Charge, do what you do. It's not going to keep us from getting what we need. I get it. There's been a lot of pressure put on a lot of people, okay? I get that. Maybe I'll need to look and see when the pressure started and why it started. All we're doing is trying to keep our community together. That's all we're trying to do. We are trying to help. Anything we are requesting, anything we are wanting, there is a reason for it. There is nothing malicious behind it. And if people are worried about that, then maybe they have a reason to be worried about it. But we are not trying to be malicious. We are trying to help. And anything that is put on us, any more extra pressure, it's just too much. We should not be having to do this anyway. I've come to one city council meeting, I think, in my life before now to ask for help from the city with the Little League stuff. That's it, okay? We shouldn't be having to do this. You all put us in this situation. We're trying to get out of it, okay? We're truly, truly, truly trying to help. We're not trying to hurt anybody, okay?
Thank you, Jolita. Please? Thank you. Gentlemen, what do y'all think? You have any comments on this?
Yeah, I was looking at this fee schedule, and that's right in line with what they taught us at the OMAG, or were showing us at the OMAG when we had our meeting. And like, Tommy said, the wording that he got, from the Attorney General, and I know sometimes whenever I've gone to the Attorney General, the wording and everything, like, on the rules and regulations, I just copied exactly what the Attorney General had stated to me. And so the verbiage sometimes may not be kind of in line with everything, every situation, but that's the verbiage that the state uses, correct, Tommy? And so, I think by using the verbiage, it's already approved by the state and by OMAG and OML, then I don't see any reasons that we should have to make any changes to it.
Larry?
I'm good with it.
Okay. Make a motion.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-07.
I'll second it.
Mark made the motion, second by Darlene. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Okay, number 12, discussion, consideration, and possible action to adopt Resolution 2026-08, establishing plan review, permit, and inspection fees for fire suspension, fire alarms, and fire hoods.
This resolution addresses items that haven't been covered in the past, especially related to fire suppression. For plan reviews, these are coming more and more common for us, especially with the activities in the industrial park and any other commercial activities that are going on that under new code requires fire suppression. So I ask that you consider Resolution 08 to address that.
I'm going to make a motion to approve number 12.
I'll second that.
Darlene made the motion, second by Mark. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to appoint an administrative officer to carry out the duties of the town related to detached structures as set forth in Part A of the ordinance of the town of Inola. Scott?
At this time, I'd like to, and I've asked the police chief to take on this position at this time. At some point in the future, we would like to move this over to somebody who is doing more of our planning review and inspections, but at this time, we don't have that position. So Cliff has graciously said that the police chief would serve in that capacity. We have the ability, with him being in there, to do that with the dilapidated properties that we have that need to be taken care of, as well as potentially some vehicles and that kind of thing that have been left in the inappropriate positions for extended periods of time. So I would ask that you approve Cliff taking over this position.
Cliff, you have any comments on this?
He's excited to do this.
I bet you are. I'm going to make a motion to approve number 13.
And appoint Cliff
Yes, and appoint Cliff
as the
officer.
administrative officer.
Administrative officer.
I'll
Sorry.
second that.
Thank you.
Darlene made the motion, second by Mark. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Number 14, discussion, consideration of possible action to hire Brandy Elliott part-time to assist with administrative duties. Scott?
I think probably all of you know Brandy at this point. Mark may not, I don't know. Brandy was raised here, went to school here, left for a period of time while her husband was in the military. She comes in with quite a bit of experience administratively in hospitals and clinics. She has graciously agreed that if we'll hire her, that she'll come in on a part-time basis and help us with the administrative duties we have around here.
What's her maiden name?
Jones?
Jones.
I probably remember.
And he brought up a good point that he said she would be a utility player.
I look at her as a utility player that we can float around as needed.
Be
She's
able to
planning on working 32 hours a week.
fill in wherever needed.
Sir, do you have a question?
Yeah, on number 12, the inspection fee for, fire suppression, fire alarm, is that on all new builds, or what is that?
Be on any major remodels or new buildings on the commercial basis, generally speaking.
So just on new build, you're supposed to have them done every, commercial buildings every year, I think, every 4 years, something like that.
Inspections, yes, are done on an annual basis, but this is really more geared towards, and we've had that in place. This is really about the permit planning review side of the,
That's all I was
yeah.
curious about that.
Thank you. I'm going to make a motion that we hire Brandy Elliott,
At 17 and a quarter an hour.
17 and a quarter an hour as part-time assistant with administrative duties.
I'll second that.
Darlene made the motion, second by Mark. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Number 15, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve the paving of A Street Southeast, B Street Southeast, and B Street Northeast. Scott?
We talked about this at the last meeting we had together. We have since gotten prices together to redo those two roads. The Public Works guys will put in I think, 3 casings across that road before they repave it. And I think there's 1 culvert will be replaced. And then the county will come in with their equipment and labor. We have to buy the materials. At this point in time, I believe I'm giving you a high number of not to exceed $175,000. Currently, the bids for the materials are less than that, but we're not sure if we're going to be under a new contract before they get it laid or not. And with oil and asphalt appearing to go up, we're going to ask for 175 at this point.
Well, they all need it, for sure.
We're fortunate these roads don't have hardly any water lines crossing them, so we can tear them up and not have to worry about digging them
Right.
again in the future.
I make a motion to approve item number 15, not to exceed 175,000.
I'll second.
Mark made the motion, second by Darlene. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Number 16, discussion, consideration, and possible action to transfer money from the general fund to the street fund.
At this point, I would like to ask to do this project to transfer $150,000 to be in that account to pay the material bills, and then if we have to, we'll come back and get the remaining portion.
All right, I make a motion to transfer money from the general fund to the street fund of $150,000.
I'll second.
Mark made the motion, second by Darlene. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Number 17, discussion, consideration, and possible action to accept resignation from Amanda Ryder.
Yes, Amanda turned her resignation letter in to me. We do have multiple copies if you guys want to see that. She started here in 23, I believe, or correction, 2022 under Brad Craig. She has served well, she did well, and we wish her the best of luck.
I make a motion to accept the resignation of Amanda Ryder.
Second.
Mark made the motion, second by Darlene. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
And thank her for her service, please, Cliff. Thank you. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to establish trash rates based on new trash collection contract.
In your packets, there was a sheet identified as an INOLA trash rate review. I have to apologize that this is not something I had evaluated in my prior few months of being here. But under the old contract, we were actually, in one case, losing money, where we were charging the citizens less than what we were paying the trash collector. So I went through all of our rates, some of which had been established for many, many years, some of which had just not been escalated at the appropriate times. So I have put together to you a proposed rate sheet on your right-hand column side. I have put those in place. As you will note, it is your choice, but I am recommending that the administrative fee go to $1.50 per month. Leave the trash can fee alone, and then you can see the different rates that I've put in there for your consideration. I will put down there for your note of reference. If you look at the far right column, the one container per month is $21.44 total cost, and two container at $32.38. That is for twice a week pickup, which, as I've done my research, I don't find anybody else doing twice a week unless you basically double their monthly rates, which you can see Broken Arrow, Tulsa, what Miller charges outside of Inola, Sand Springs, Owasso, and Coweta. You can see their rates today for once a week pickup per month. So to give you a perspective of, if you look at the far right column, that amount will give us the money we need, one, to do container repairs, container replacements, handle administrative duties that we have in this office to do with trash, as well as public works employees doing their labor, and any bad debt write-offs. Generically, the calculation of, if you use the right-hand column, will generate about $40,000 to $50,000 a year for us to cover all those costs. So it's not a huge number, but it will at least keep us from probably losing money. So it is my recommendation that you use the rates on the right-hand column.
Gentlemen? Do you have any concerns, comments, questions?
So one container would go up $5 if we went to 15%?
Correct. Well, yes. But our trash rate has gone up over $3 from what we were paying prior to the new contract.
And at that old rate, we were under.
Basically losing money.
Yeah.
So you're proposing the new rates of 20%?
I am proposing 20% because we have not taken care of this in the prior years. So we have fallen behind for lack of oversight on the staff's and ultimately my position, I guess. So it does appear, it looks like a big number, but when you haven't had it for the last few years, it's not as big as it might look. And then if you look at it in comparison to the alternatives, we are very much in the lower half, especially when we do it twice a week. We would be at the bottom of the list if we take into consideration twice a week pickup.
Yeah.
Mark?
Yeah, it does seem a little high, but again, we haven't raised it in a while, and we were losing money to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll make a motion that we have the increase proposed to the 20% increase for our trash collection contract.
I'll second.
Mark made the motion, second by Darlene. Larry?
More than that 15, but I'm gonna vote no on the 20.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Okay, I am gonna, what time is that? I'm gonna make a motion to go to PWA at
Well,
7:26.
we've got another item,
One more.
I'm sorry.
number 19.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action to establish automatic trash rate adjustments based upon future charges to service providers' charges to town under trash collection contracts.
It would administratively suit us a lot better if you will so entrust us to continue to hold the 20% markup on any adjustments that our service provider raises in his contract, to allow us to keep up with time. And, if we do get an escalation at least once a year, or a price change, it could go down. So it's my request that you empower us to be able to keep this current markup that you just approved, so that we can keep the rates in the same spread that we have today.
Okay? Okay, well, I'm gonna make a motion to approve number 19 of the 20% automatic trash rate adjustments based on future charges to service provider charges to the town.
I'll second.
Darlene made the motion, second by Larry. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. I'm gonna make a motion to go to PWA at 7:27.
I'll second.
Darlene made the motion, second by Mark. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. April, will you do roll, please?
Larry?
Here.
Mark?
Here.
Jan? Darlene?
Here. Approval of previous regular meeting minutes is printed.
I'm making a motion to approve previous regular meeting minutes as printed.
I'll second.
Mark made the motion, second by Darlene. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Number 2, monthly PWA report. We have a copy of that in our files here. Looks like, as usual, the guys have been very busy.
Yeah, I even had to go to the back side of it.
Yeah. Thank you, PWA.
I was gonna ask Scott a question.
Yes.
Did you, on Friday night, did anybody say anything about our famous ditch that runs from Family Dollar to the creek?
No.
The water was backed up in the nursing home.
Okay.
And the ditch had no water in it, very little. I think our culvert is too high. We gotta take some,
The culvert at the Dollar Tree, yes, it was always considered a little bit high, I'll be honest. That's my opinion. And in fact, and you know as much of the history as I do on that whole issue, but it would have been nice if it had been lowered a couple more inches. That did not happen in the negotiations and the conversations that took place. So there was some grading done to help address the water that was standing in front of that culvert, but it was not any indication that it was going to back it up into the nursing
Well,
home.
no, I'd say, I don't think it got into it. But what I'm
Okay.
saying is that it was a pretty good lake there.
Yes, it does, there is, and it probably needs some additional grading,
Okay.
but at this point, I don't think we really have any avenue to be able to address that with them, because we have arm wrestled on that one.
You know, we should probably take pictures, document, send it to them, because part of that would be an issue between the neighbors. as
Yeah.
well.
Well, I mean, Trent and I drove by there, we were looking, and then the retention, whatever that was, on the south side of the.
That's not intended to be retention anymore.
I know it had no water in it at all, but I think we need to look at that, because if we had a pretty good rain, I mean, we had
Inch
very
and a half.
little water running in our new ditch.
Yeah.
We didn't spend that money on it, but it's just something I want James and them to, if we can, even if we lower it 2 or 3 inches and get a little more water.
I don't think there's a way to lower it unless you want to bring a road boring company in to rebore the culvert.
I wonder if I was just thinking, is the dirt level with the,
The ditch and the dirt out in the nursing home's yard is, they have put some sand and other items in there to kind of help raise it up a little bit. I'm not saying it's adequate, but at one time it appeared to be. They had, the contractors on the Dollar Tree did do that. It's just a bad situation. If the culvert had been installed about 2 to 3 inches lower, it would have taken care of all the problems.
okay, I was just
Yeah.
looking at it. Okay, good.
Thank you. Number 3, discussion, consideration, and possible action to adopt Resolution 2026-07, a joint resolution of the Town of Inola and Inola Public Works Authority updating procedures and fees related to responding to open records requests. This is the same thing that we addressed earlier, so I'm going to make a motion to approve number 3.
I'll second.
Darlene made the motion, second by Mark. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Approval of purchase orders as initialed.
I make a motion to approve purchase orders as initial.
I'll second.
Mark made the motion, second by Larry. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. I'm going to make a motion to return to regular session at 7:32.
I'll second.
Darlene made the motion, second by Mark. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Make a motion to return from PWA at 7:33, I'm sorry.
I'll second.
Motion made by Darlene, second by Mark. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Number 22, approval of purchase orders as initialed.
I make a motion to approve purchase orders as initial.
I'll second.
Mark made the motion, second by Larry. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Mayor's comments. I want to take this minute because I can't say this enough. I want to thank our police officers, our police staff, our firemen, PWA, everybody that works so very hard for our town and our community. I just want to thank every one of you and tell you how much we appreciate you. And I'm going to make a motion to adjourn at 7:33.
I'll second.
Darlene made the motion, second by Mark. Larry?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes. Thank you all.